And then for the main event, Gegard, the Dreamcatcher Mousasi with the TKO round 3 against the #1 ranked John Salter, man. The BJJ, like I said, the BJJ of John Salter, it is incredible. But Gegard Mousasi's grappling is severely and vastly underrated, man. And I don't understand why. I get it, maybe if this was 5 years ago, something like that, you know what I mean? Maybe like 7 years ago, where he was really just mainly a striker and, you know, you could really just wrestle him and that was the X factor. But today, man, he's too well-rounded. And this is a man who I just feel like he's going to hold on to the belt for a really long time as long as he's engaged and focused in the cage. Because sometimes he's so lackadaisical, so relaxed. It's just like, yo, you know you're fighting, right? You know you locked in the cage with another man. However, man, he got rocked by John Salter one time, actually. John Salter, I don't know if it was a big left or a big right or whatever it was, but he kind of got rocked out there. He got his hips pulled back on the cage and all that good stuff until he was able to reverse the position. But give me some takeaways from John Salter's performance before we talk just a little bit more about Gegard Mousasi.
It was honestly, he was better on the feet than I was expecting him to be. He looked good. He was back and forth. You know, he was doing all the correct stuff. Like you said, he did tag Gegard Mousasi going forward, which I honestly did not see coming at all. I thought John Salter was just going to be going for takedowns on takedowns on takedowns. But he looked good, man. He definitely deserved. He showed that he belongs in the picture at least. You know, he definitely was outperformed a little bit, but you know, he's in there with the top dogs. It's hard against an absolute legend like Gegard Mousasi to not be outperformed against. You know, so all credits to John Salter on this one, man. It was a TKO. You hit the nail on the head on that one, Derek. It was a TKO round 3 finish for Gegard Mousasi. But John Salter, he looked good. Like I said, he looked good in the stand-up, surprisingly good too. I was there, even though it was a loss and it was a hard loss for sure. I was pretty impressed with Salter's performance. I know as impressed as you can be taking the L like that.
No, I'm absolutely with you, man. One thing that I have to note that this is a quote from John Salter literally right after the fight. And this is, folks, just understand my reasoning when I talk about this stuff, man. Grappler versus wrestler is always a very intriguing matchup, always. But I think sometimes we give a little bit too much of an edge to the grapplers simply because, oh, well, if they get on their back and they do this, you know, they can lock them up and they can grab the armbar, they can grab the neck and whatever, cool. But I'm like, man, the people who are saying that, I feel like haven't spent a lot of time watching high-level wrestlers, because in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the entire point is to say, let me get you in my guard, because once I get you in my guard, then I can start messing around, configuring different setups, all that good stuff, right? Well, what happens if I don't allow myself to fall into your guard? What happens if I put myself in half guard and just smash you? Because that is the wrestler's game plan, and it's really hard to escape that half guard. You know what I mean? If you're against a really high-level wrestler who knows what they're doing. And with that being said, John Salter said immediately after the fight, he said, quote, he, as in Gegard Mousasi, was in half guard and I just couldn't move, dude. You know what I mean? End quote. That's it. You know, he was just like, he had me in the half guard and I could not move. And that is the exact position that I was talking about that Gegard Mousasi is so good in, man. I don't know what it is, but he's able to get his opponent kind of like folded like a lawn chair up against the cage, stand over them and just drop bombs, elbow. And that's what he was doing. He was getting himself into a position where he would like had a good, you know, like top posture over on the top, you know what I'm saying? Dropping the big like straight punches, which really hurt. But when he like got down to a knee and started dropping the elbows, you knew that's just the point where a lot of these fighters start to give up. You know, if Haji Murat went against Tyke Werder felt a kick and was like, oh man, it might be time to give up. You know what I'm saying? Imagine someone is just smacking you, bap, 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 10 strikes unanswered, all of that type of stuff, man, because it got to the point where the referee was like, John, you got to do something, bro. Like, you got to show me something. And I believe that it was Dan Mergliata. I believe that he was the coach. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but I do believe the coach, the referee. So forgive me if I'm wrong on that, but he was like sitting there looking kind of disappointed, like, God damn, am I really going to have to stop this fight? Like, I don't know, man. Impressive showing, a very impressive showing for Gegard Mousasi, man. But this is just one of those things where I don't want to discredit anybody because John Salter, clearly, if you're #1 in Bellator, you're whooping that ass. He's a violent fighter. He's very, very good. But when the fight gets out of the first and second round, man, I mean, it always ends up being kind of the same issue for Salter. He gets tired. And did you see that same thing, this fight that we were already talking about in the pre-show?
Yeah, I mean, we hit the nail on the head in the pre-show, Derek. Yeah, you called the actual, finish, but we were saying it from the jump, man. You get him out of that second round. John Salter just starts to fumble a little bit, and we really saw it, especially like you said, when Gegard had the top pressure and those hips were staying heavy. It's one of the best things Gegard does is not only does he put all his weight on you, but he puts his center of gravity on you, and he's able just to drop bombs. It's real hard when the gas tank's already fumbling, your energy level's down, and then now your brain starts to work like, man, this dude keeps banking me in the head. Like, I might just turn around and, turtle over. But we saw it going forward, and that's what happened, man. It was a good fight. All the things that we saw going forward for John Salter ended up coming to fruition.
So let me just ask you this before we move on to some Newswire stuff, man. Have you ever seen a fighter, how do I phrase this? Have you ever seen a fighter less impressed, like as not impressed as Gegard Mousasi was after just dismantling John Salter? Like, he was just like, oh, all right, well, put the gold around my waist, here we go again. I got like 47 wins, bro. So like, this is nothing, Have you ever seen anybody that stoic after a win?
Not in recent memory, and that's kind of Gegard's like claim to fame, man. He's always just like, yeah, cool, yeah, on to the next, whatever. Like maybe not Shevchenko, who's the other Russian boxer,
Fedor.
No, he's an actual boxer. He lost it a long time, or a couple years ago. Klitschko is also the same sort of way, very stoic, very just not really like a big celebrator. He's not jumping up on the ring. So it could just be a foreign, dignity thing where you're not, act like you've been there before. But yeah, in recent memory, not really anybody. Gegard Mousasi, just another day at the office, wipes his hands clean, on to the next, man.
Yeah, man. He said it before. He was like, yeah, man, I think I'm better than this guy everywhere. So, yeah, but that's what I'm talking about, man. So he moves to 48-7-2, man. 27 knockouts on his record. Gegard Mousasi is a national treasure, man. We must protect this man at all costs. Like I said, he is bigger than Bellator. He is mixed martial arts. This dude, like you said, he left the UFC off some wins, man, off dubs. Like, who does that? You don't do that unless you're Khabib or you're Gegard Mousasi, basically, man. But with that being said, folks, that was the main card breakdown for Bellator 264. It was a fun one, man. Like I said, we don't cover Bellator that often. It's probably only the second Bellator event we've covered on this platform, but it was a fun one.